don't let them go back. Either let them stay here because they come here to find asylum due to the violence going on in their country. So yeah, they're not letting them free. They're just being unjust. They don't want to let the kids go. At least for them to stay here, find a way to make them stay here and get the support that they need. We love our children. They need to be set free.
What do you think about what it says about this country?
What do I think about this country?
Children being locked up for
it hurts so much from the bottom of my heart because I'm a first generation Latina here. So I could have been in those cages a long time ago, but I was born in '95. My dad immigrated here from Honduras. He came here in '85. So I could have been there. So I'm doing this because I could have been in the same shoes as they were too.
Thank you. What's your name?
Denise Imanzar.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we're calling people to action and holding them accountable, you know? We need families back together and we need children to not be in cages, and that's why we're here.
What's your name?
Water?
I don't know. You ate that?
Thank you so much for being here.
To abolish ICE.
Right. What are the reasons?
What are the reasons? Because I don't think people are products. And I know they're just trying to fill their beds. And
Business.
yeah, it's better said that they're refugees than immigrants for the vast majority of people trying to come into this country. So that's how my family and my ancestors got here. I don't see why it should be any different for them.
What's your name?
Dylan.
Abolish ICE. To stop ICE. Free the kids. Stop separating families. End the practices in this corrupt regime.
Hi, I'm Lisa Milos. I'm really concerned about the political prisoners, the Mapuche political prisoners who have been now, 27 of them have been on a hunger strike, 8 of whom have been on a hunger strike for 96 days. And 3 days ago, they started a no liquid hunger strike. And they've been fighting the racist injustice system of Chile. And they've been fighting against the forestry companies who've been trying to take over their lands. They've been fighting to defend their water. They've been fighting for many, many, many years. During many of the successive governments, even the government of Michelle Bachelet as well, which applied the anti-terrorism laws against them, which means that many of them have been put in jail. Now they're asking the government of Piñera to respect the International Labor Organization Article 169, which would permit them to serve their sentences within their own communities. And they're not respecting that.
I'm a DACA recipient. I'm undocumented, and I'm here unafraid calling on the governor to investigate the abuse that's going on, the criminalization of our kids. Stop detention. It's about time that California shows who we really are. We must stand with immigrants. We are a sanctuary state. I also call on federal action to pass a humane immigration reform, because this is not only about freeing the kids, this is about providing a path to citizenship for all of us, for the 11 million undocumented families that are living in fear, that are facing wage theft and abuse. I call on you to help us continue building this movement to release the kids, stop criminalization of our families. It's about time that we humanize our stories. We are here because of our strength, because our culture. We bring a lot more than the media and this president is trying to convey about us. And one more thing, fill out the census. Regardless of immigration status, you must be counted. It's your constitutional right. And if you are eligible to vote, vote in November. And this is not only about November, this is about a movement for the long term. To dismantle racist systems, to free the people, and to promote Black lives and their struggle, and to help them enjoy their struggle as well, to dismantle years of oppression and racism. So thank you. Together we can free all the
Thank you so much for those words, Nana. It's the whole system we've got to take down. It's not just ICE, it's part of a bigger thing. That's what we're here for. So, as we keep waiting for more of our speakers to come up, hint, hint, por favor, si van a hablar hoy y todavía no han llegado acá a la tropa, por favor, lleguen para acá. So, as we wait, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Ismael Rey Lara. He is a professor of race and resistance studies at SF State, and he's a poet. So we're going to hear a bit from him now.
No justice! No justice! My name is Ismael Rey Lara III. I'm here to say that as I see my own sons grow up, what am I going to do different to dismantle racism so that my children could also benefit? And so I ask myself before I go to sleep, are my ancestors proud of me? And if the answer is yes, then I'm tranquil and I'm at peace. But the answer is no, then I know the next day, as the new sun rises, I need to do more. I'm a part-time professor. I teach at Merritt College, home of the Black Panthers. I teach at College of Marin in the North Bay. I teach at right here, San Francisco State University in the Race and Resistance Department. Origins of ethnic studies in this country. And what we learn and what we see is that when we have unity across the spectrum, we can move the mountains. We can help flow the streams. And so I'm here to say a very, very brief poem that I wrote about 5-6 years ago when I used to organize right here with SEIU Local A7, Just for Janus campaign. When I used to organize right here in the Mission District with Gaia's program. Here it is. Close your eyes. Plant your feet, feel the earth, feel the dirt, love and laugh. I was told the first duty of love is to listen, protect all our children. You are not one in a million, you are one in one. Protect the women, meditate, envision your vision, and better you starts today. We are seeds, created to bloom beauty, not only to feel pain decay. That's devil talk. Peace to Uncle Ray, Fred and Donna. I ride with guys by the bay. When my folks see me, they say, what's up, Ray? Some watch thrones, some play games. I read books, look at the stars and build in these streets. And at night, I'll across 7 galaxies. Cause our children are the gold these invaders came for. This is a spiritual war. So I ride for Creator. And nah, homie, there is nothing greater. Oh, Mateo, peace to all originals. Free the children, free them all. Peace.
What's the call? What's the call? What's the call? Free them all! First of all, I want to recognize the land we are on. This land here belongs to the people, the First Nation people, and all the people who stand in solidarity with the First Nations against capitalism, white supremacy, patriarchy, settler colonialism, and U.S. imperialism. We are standing in front of the tendril of an evil, dehumanizing system. by all who work for the federal government. And this building right here has even more power, sitting just blocks away from the Pacific Stock Exchange, right over there, in the middle of San Francisco, this imperial city. San Francisco, 49 square miles. It has 75 billionaires and tens of thousands of unhoused and marginally housed people. It is no coincidence that this building right here stands in the same city that has fielded the Speaker of the House, 2 senators, one of whom may become the Vice President, and the governor. Out of all the millions of square miles of California, the state fields the most powerful people from this place right here, 49 square miles next to this terrible, awful, horrible, dehumanizing building next to the Pacific Stock Exchange. That's the power that's here in San Francisco. And when we call upon Governor Newsom to close the camps, it's not just Governor Newsom who has the power to close the camps, it's all the people that I just mentioned as well. We are in the midst of a 550-year genocide, but it's stepping up right now. The rate of genocide is increasing dramatically right now. We have a government that is wholly neglected to stop the spread of COVID-19. It's just like giving smallpox-laden blankets to Native people. That's exactly what this is. And the only thing that we can do is take to the streets and stop it before it steps up and squashes all of our communities. That's what our task is here today. So I call upon all of us together to shout out, what's the call? Free them all! What's the call? Free them all! What's the call? Free them all! El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Thank you very much.
Up next, we have Rosa Carranza from TPS Coalition. Give it up!
Hi everybody. I am a TPS holder. I am a mother and a grandmother fighting for what is justice. Children are not belong in cages. Children are belong to their family. As an educator, I have a moral obligation to tell those who don't know this situation didn't start with the immigrant children. Practice here started a long time ago with the Native American children. It continued with the African slaves. They did exactly what they doing to the children at the border, taking the children out of their parents' hands. It is immoral. It is brutal. It is cruel. ICE must be abolished. Children are not illegal. Children are not criminal. ICE has to criminalize all immigrants to have an excuse to put us all in prison. So for those who do not know how much money is involved, it is not just ICE, it is the
acting alone. ICE has the blessing of the government, and we cannot keep doing the same thing. People have the power. We are more than the people in the government. So we have the power, we must use it. To understand what is happening now, the private prison running for those close to the administration. Every child in a cage costs to the taxpayers $750 a day per child. More than $20,000 a month to have a child in a cage. That is immoral. That is cruel. That is brutal. It must stop. It must stop yesterday. It is too late, but we can keep doing it. We hold the power. We must use it. Free the children. Free them all.
All right, thank you. Free them all. All right, up next, we have Vicky Ramirez from the SF Labor Council, and we also really want to say thank you so much for lending this amazing sound truck, showing your support at every major action. Seriously, thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Vicky Ramirez and I'm with Local 87, the Janitors Union. And I'm here in behalf of the labor. Woo! Everybody, why are we here today? What is the call? What is the call? Well, you know what? I'm here in solidarity with all of the brothers and sisters here and all of you, but let me tell you something. As she is telling us the cost per child, have you guys heard what the HHS had reported? 1,500 kids are missing from these cages, right? They can't account for all these kids. Now imagine their parents. Imagine their families. They haven't been united in so long, and we're here fighting, but we don't hear anything. So now as we have politicians out here coming for our vote, let's see what they're really gonna do. Because this is 1,500 kids missing, right? You know what? I'm here and I want to thank the Lord for having us all here and be safe, right? Because we're keeping our distance, because we have our mask, and we have one more day of life. But what about those children? Do they have their family with them? At least last night, I went to sleep thinking about my kids and my grandkids, obvious. I have 8 grandkids, and I want to thank the Lord for them too, right? But I want to thank all of you for being here for this great cause. You know, it hurts to see as a mother how they have these kids, right? And they don't want to free them because, well, their parents are not here, right? Or they're not legal in the United States. I think that needs to stop. Just as we're fighting for Black Lives Matter, let's fight for all these kids. Again, there's a call, and what are we asking? We're asking to shut them down, right? So what are we called? What is the call for? Free them all. What's the call? Free them all. Thank you, everybody.
Up next, I'd like to introduce Hoku from By Any Means Necessary. Let's give it up.
The Obama-appointed federal court judge, Dolly G., who ordered that children be released from ICE detention because of COVID-19 slowly becoming making ICE concentration camps slowly become death camps, says all of a sudden that after she made the order that her order is unenforceable. This is just the latest example. This is the latest example of why our movement in the streets has to be independent of the courts, has to be independent of the politicians. When Trump gets desperate, like he is now, and he's scared he's going to lose the election in November, he looks to attack immigrants. Whether that's fighting to eliminate the right to asylum for refugees, whether that's in defiance of the United States Supreme Court, attempting to attack DACA. whether that's deporting people or whether that's trying to keep children and their families in cages. And so the people, the federal police that got sent into Portland were his most loyal, his whitest, his most racist, his most violent detachments from ICE and the Border Patrol. Well, our independent new civil rights movement that started to march in the streets when George Floyd was murdered by those 4 police officers, our movement in Portland told the federal police to get out, and Trump had to remove them. The last almost 4 years now, what you could say that it has been is a failure of the politicians to do anything to get Trump out of office, or to stop his attacks on immigrants, or to stop his attacks on women, or to stop his attacks on black immigrant, minority and immigrant communities. And so our movement must build independently. When we say that our power is in the streets, what we mean is that our movement, the people that are marching here today, our movement in the streets represents the vast majority of people in this country who are for equality, who are for the dignity of minority and immigrant communities, who hate Donald Trump and want him out of office now. Sorry, my name is Hoku Jeffrey, and I'm an organizer with BAM. It's the Coalition to Defend Affirmative Action, Integration, and Immigrant Rights, and fight for equality by any means necessary. When Trump says he makes clear that he wants no testing for COVID-19, and he wants to force students and parents back into school, all the politicians say, okay, Trump, well, how can we do that for you, sir? And that's what they've been trying to do. Our movement in the streets is the only reason why in California schools remain closed. New York is already talking about reopening. And we already know that black and Latino communities get infected and die at rates 2 to 3 times higher than white people. And we're not going to let the politicians' willingness to prioritize profits over human lives stop us from fighting in the streets. So I'll just depart by saying, any of our victories that we've won in the last 2 months, any of our victories, to make them lasting, we have to get Donald Trump out of office, and we have to do it before November comes around, because every day that he's in office, that means somebody else in ICE detention risks dying because of COVID-19 or some other reason. Every day that he's in office, there's somebody else that could be killed by his police, and we don't accept that. And we're going to keep marching and marching until we win. Thank you.
Next we have from White Coats for Black Lives, Do No Harm Coalition and Residency Diversity Committee, Doctora Adali Martinez. Thank you so much to the organizers for inviting me to speak today. My name is Adali. I am a resident physician at UCSF and at San Francisco General. So on paper, my title is doctor, but that's not how I identify myself. I am a Latina, I am rooted in my culture and a love for my people. I am the daughter of immigrants, of a hardworking mother who will do anything for her family. And I am a woman, and soon to be mama, filled with strength and a nurturing compassion for others. And because of those identities, I can't go about the hospital pretending to be a healer when there are families in cages exposed to illness and trauma. None of us can. I faced only a fraction of that trauma when my dad was deported when I was really young. And he's still in Tijuana, separated from us because of racist policies. I know what that pain feels like and the long-term effects of family separation. But I also have a lot of privilege that migrant families today don't have. And as doctors who work in the community, we know for a fact that adverse childhood experiences, so trauma that you face as a child, has long-lasting negative effects on your health. And study after study after study has shown us what we already know, that the more trauma that you face, the more likely you are to have chronic diseases like asthma and obesity. And Governor Newsom, he knows that too.
because the California Surgeon General has dedicated her career to addressing trauma, and now all children who have Medicaid are mandated to be screened in clinics. So how does that make any sense for a state that claims to value health and who knows the effects of trauma to allow the perpetuation of trauma in our own land? Now add the effects of COVID. The conditions in detention centers we know are bad. We've seen all the pictures. Often hundreds of people all forced to sleep 3 feet away from each other on the floor with no access to adequate sanitation. Even before the pandemic, we knew that this was a recipe for death and for outbreak. And there were children even before the pandemic dying from the flu. So last year when doctors in SoCal tried to vaccinate children for the flu, you know what happened to them? They got arrested because ICE doesn't care about the health and safety of anyone. So now with COVID, the threat of death is even more present. And more than 50% of people that are tested, and not everyone is tested, in detention centers have tested positive. And detainees have gone on hunger strikes, trying to ask for masks, just trying to be safe. And the threat is real, and if our government claims to be so concerned with the spread of disease, they will release our families from all these congested and unsanitary conditions. They will free them all. There is no way to safely detain anyone in a pandemic. So I stand here today, a representative of the medical field, to express my deep concern for the health and safety of children and adults in detention center, and I urge my fellow health professionals to do the same. To stand up for public health and to stand up for human rights. Because no one is free until we're all free. Coalition Bay Area, another Dr. Hemin Cho.
Free them all! Free us all! We are human beings. You, me, everyone here on this land, this Ohlone Ramaytush land, we all belong here. What does immigration mean? It means people had to move from one place to another. Does that mean that we are less human because we are brown? Does that mean that we're less human because we're poor? Does it mean that we're less human because the U.S. imperialist capitalists came to our countries and killed us in the millions, and then we had to come here? We are migrants because of capitalism, because of climate destruction, because of warfare, because of them using our labor and then putting us in cages and telling us we cannot have our children. My name is Dr. Hemin Cho. I'm a proud member, rank and file of DSA San Francisco. The Free Them All Coalition and DSA San Francisco are struggling here with you because Governor Newsom is not our governor. He's the governor of the 1%. He's the governor that is pretending to resist Trump while at the same time he refuses to close down every single fucking private prison facility. That is not resistance. Waving a piece of paper in front of Congress is not resistance against fascism. It's a dog and pony show while the left Democrats, the right Republicans pretend to be representing us, but they are representing the 1%. Medicare for all. Who wants that?
things that we could have during coronavirus. Healthcare. That would be the best thing, right? Nobody checking your card. Nobody looking you up and down. Nobody asking if you're too poor or if you have the correct papers to be treated like a human being so that you can survive this pandemic. %56% of Republicans say that they want Medicare for all. 88% of Democrats say they want Medicare for all. The Democratic fucking Party will not stand behind Medicare for all. What the fuck is that? It's bullshit. This is resistance. This is being a human being. Thank you for standing up, standing in the street, because this is what democracy looks like. The next thing I wanted to say is that our people are dying. They're dying in those camps that are so unsanitary that children are dying even from regular infections, from staph infections. Our people are dying in prisons. Our people are dying in prisons because it's a concentrated area. The detention centers are concentrated areas. COVID testing will not save their lives. Even if they give them tests, they're still in congregate settings. Homeless people are also dying. Those are our people. Why are they homeless? Because they're poor. This disease is intersectional. Immigration is also intersectional. This disease is killing old people, poor people, brown people, black people, homeless people, people who are in prisons, and people in the camps. That is who it is killing. We absolutely have to stand together. Red, yellow, black, brown, white, we are workers. There are more people like us who are standing in the front lines and doing jobs because we have to. We cannot stay home and isolate. We cannot order all of our food from Whole Foods online. We have higher rates of dying from COVID-19 for a reason. We have to demand that Governor Newsom and Javier Becerra release our people and free them now. Sorry, one last thing. The immigration reform. The borders make us illegal. I came to this country as an undocumented person because I came from a place where 5 million people died, Korea. Laws make us illegal, borders make us illegal, but there is no illegal human being on the face of this earth. We need to end the border racism and the border fascism. Borders make no sense anymore. They have no sense other than spreading capitalism and maintaining the control of the elite. That's right. The other reason why people have to cross borders arduously, risking their lives, risking their children, is because they are gay, they're trans, they're queer, and they're not safe where they are. Gay, straight, everything in between. We are all one people. We are from the earth. We are not from laws. We are not from definitions or divisions. The beauty of all of you here right now gives me hope and gives me strength to keep fighting. Thank you all.
And let's give it up for all our medical workers, frontline workers, essential workers. And they're around the country giving billions of dollars to ICE and the police and the prisons and the military. And people on the front lines are dying because they don't have protection, just the most basic gear. They don't have hazard pay. People are unemployed and their benefits are running out. Why is all the money going to this right here? It should be going to us. We're the ones that are dying in this pandemic. It's our locked up brothers and sisters and siblings dying in this pandemic. That's where the funds should be going, to freeing them. And not just setting them free, but giving them a place to live, dignified housing, health care, benefits, protection throughout the pandemic and beyond. So we have 2 more speakers. Thank you everyone for sticking around. Also, at some point, check out the beautiful ground mural that was made over there. Some beautiful art happening. I want to bring up Jose Luis Pavan. He's a community organizer with Community United for Restorative Youth Justice, also known as Courage. So please welcome Jose Luis.
How's everybody doing? Fuck eyes! Fuck eyes! Fuck eyes! Free the children! Free the children! Free the children! Free the children! Sí se puede! 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 Who's gonna win? We're gonna win. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? That's right. That's the intention we need to put out there. ¿Quién va a ganar? Nosotros ganaremos. I'm sorry, my throat. I gotta drink some more water. I sound like a duck that's getting choked and stuff. My name's Jose Luis Pavon. I'm a community worker, I'm a community organizer. I work in East Oakland doing violence prevention work and working with young people that are formerly incarcerated. I'm a public health worker. I work for a nonprofit, but that's public health work. You know, me llamo José Luis Pavón, soy organizador comunitario y también trabajador comunitario. Trabajo con jóvenes que anteriormente fueron encarcelados en Oakland. But I was raised here in San Francisco, 3rd generation San Franciscan, Chicano, Mexican. Pero yo fui crecido aquí en San Francisco, soy de la 3ª generación Chicano-Mexicano. I want to say a little bit of Chicano-Mexicano history about the place that you're standing on right here. Because the first Mexicans in San Francisco were half Spanish and half California Indian. We were mestizos of the Spanish colonies that became Mexico after the Wars of Independence in Mexico. Tantita historia sobre la historia de los mexicanos y los chicanos aquí, en este lugar donde estamos parados. Los primeros mexicanos aquí en San Francisco eran los mestizos entre los indígenas de California y los españoles que formaron las colonias españolas aquí y que después de las guerras de independencia se formaron a ser México. When the United States occupied northern Mexico and when they occupied San Francisco, this was a sleepy little fishing town and it was called Yerba Buena. And the U.S. Navy came to a little port that was right here and they parked their Navy ship and they unloaded and they occupied. And since that day, in approximately 1848,
This has been San Francisco of the United States of America, but before that it was Mexico. So tantita historia que aquí en este lugar, antes era un pueblito chiquito de México, era un pueblito chiquito pescador que se llamaba Hierbabuena. Pero en 1848 llegó los Estados Unidos a ocupar los territorios del norte de México y llegaron a sus barcos navales, se estacionaron, se desembarcaron aquí y desde entonces San Francisco ha sido parte de los Estados Unidos. They carry a long legacy of exploiting people. San Francisco was a slave plantation, but the slaves were Native Americans. The wine industry that was built in California was built by Native American slave labor, including children. So when you're enjoying your fine wine, remember that. Esto lo que está pasando aquí, encarcelando a los niños, encarcelando a la gente, encarcelando a gente inocente, viene de un legado larga de una historia de explotación. Porque aquí las misiones tenían esclavitud. Aquí toda la industria del vino, si a usted le gusta su copita de vino, piense que la industria del vino en California fue empezado con esclavos indígenas, esclavos que eran indígenas de California. So, let me end with this. Are we just a minority of crazy radicals that are out here with pie in the sky and bleeding heart liberals? No. You know who's the real minority? These right-wing racists. The elite capitalists. They're completely outnumbered. They're completely outnumbered and they're peeing in their pants because they know they're completely outnumbered. The right-wing white conservative voters are beginning to, they're not having kids fast enough to replace themselves. The majority of voters for the future of the United States are young people of color and progressive white people. So, what does that mean mathematically for us for the future? It means the future is ours! The future is ours! So let's take it! And let me give a quick translation para la gente que creen que tenemos que estar claros que no somos una minoría, nosotros somos la mayoría. La gente de color, los inmigrantes, los afroamericanos, los asiáticos, los árabes y nuestros aliados, los europeos americanos progresistas, izquierdistas que están aquí con nosotros, somos la mayoría. Somos la mayoría y tarde o temprano vamos a tomar el poder desde este país. Es lo que viene. So what I'm going to ask everybody here to do is this march has to be like 10 times bigger next time. So everybody here is an organizer. Your job is to bring 5 or 10 more people next time you come. When you get that call, when you see your little Facebook meme or on Instagram, you're going to be like, oh shit, I got to start calling motherfuckers. And if I got to get 10 people, I got to talk to 30 people because half those people are going to be some laggers. They're going to say, oh, COVID, oh, I got a fucking Zoom call. Oh, I got to, organize my socks. So you got to talk to 30 people so you can get 10 people here. Okay? Because just like Ray was saying earlier, I feel like a coward just sitting at home sharing fucking Facebook posts while there's kids in fucking cages. Yo me siento como un cobarde en la casa, en mis redes sociales, en la computadora, mientras que hay niños en jaulas. Así que todos aquí tenemos que organizar, tenemos que traer 10 personas cada uno para que se vaya multiplicando este movimiento, porque vamos a ganar. We will win. We will win. And I'm Chicano. I am privileged. I have a college education. I can move forward and be wealthy and or just make money for myself. But you know what? I can't live with myself like that. I can't. When our people are in jail, when our people, innocent people are in jail, or even our people that have done crimes, free them all! 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 ¡Que viva la raza!
nice to win, but we can win, and we have to. And history has shown around the world that it is completely possible to overthrow capitalist systems of oppression. It has happened before, and we can make it happen here. So, we gotta keep organizing. Up next, I want to introduce Roberto Hernandez from the SF Lowrider Council, who led the car caravan today. He's been amazing in the mission community, so please give him a very, very warm welcome.
Buenas tardes. Me llamo Roberto Hernandez. I am 64 years old and I've been an organizer all my life. Mi papá was an organizer for the United Farm Workers, and at the age of 12 years old, he sent me to Delano, California to live there for the summer. And I got to meet Cesar Chavez. I really didn't know much about him, but let me tell you, after spending a whole entire summer in Delano, California with Cesar Chavez, I became his warrior. And I hugged him when I left because I thought we were poor. Go to Delano, California. Go to Watsonville. Go to Fresno. Go to all the campos where all the Mexicanos live. It's criminal that the hardest working people in this country, in this land, on this earth, are treated to this day the worst. Without them, we would have no food. We would not eat. So today, I brought with me, vengan para acá, vengan para, estén conmigo, a bunch of children and young people, because let's give it up for them. And I'm going to give up some of my times for them to tell you their stories. Because these young children and these young men, like I started at 12, I start training young people at 5. I start educating children at 5. All of them have been part of Justice for Alex Nieto. All of them have been part of our Mission No Eviction. All of them have been part of Black Lives Matter. They have been a part of A Day Without Immigrants, marches on May 1st. Right now, I want them to learn that in this building, people are detained. Did you know that? Did you know that? Well, I'm teaching you that today. People in this building are detained illegally by the government. That is criminal. So what are we going to do for these people right now? I want you to, as loud as you can, for those who are in this building right now, que los oigan, que los escuchen. What do we want for them? Freedom! What do we want? Freedom! No se oye. Freedom! So I want to start out with Zach.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zach McCray. I was born and raised in this city. My mother is black, and my father is from El Salvador. And they met at Carnival in 1989. 2 months before I was born, me and my brother, my dad was deported back to El Salvador. And they tried to take that away from my identity. But I share that with you all because we work at the intersections. We are all intersectional people. We don't have one identity. We work at a lot of different identities. And if we want to succeed in this fight, we have to recognize those intersectional identities and can't work in silos. So I challenge myself every day to challenge my assumptions and check my privileges and think about how I can be better and understand compassion and love, because that's going to get this through us. Thank you very much.
And now I want to introduce Alberto. Let's give it up for Alberto.
My name is Alberto. I was born in La Ciudad de Mexico. I was raised out here in the Mission District of San Francisco. What ICE is doing is inhumane. It is injustice. It's not right. It's not right to have children in cages. It's not right to have children crying in cages. It is not right to have innocent people of this land. This is our land. It's not theirs. So we have more right for that. We have more right here than they do. They say we're illegal. No, we're not. We are not immigrants. We are migrants. This is our land. Yeah, my name is Alberto, and I'm representing the San Francisco Mission District. And I'm currently in process to start DACA. So yeah.
We talk about the governor. Well, what about Nancy Pelosi? You know, Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House before, when Obama was the President of the United States. Well, Obama didn't do shit. And Pelosi didn't do shit. In fact, Obama promised that the first year of his administration, he was going to do immigration reform. Mentiroso. He's a liar. Pelosi and Obama were in office, in control, when Black Lives Matter started. I was part of Black Lives Matter. And when did Obama stand up for Black Lives Matter? When did Nancy Pelosi stand up for Black Lives Matter back then? What a hypocrite for her to all of a sudden take a knee. That is an insult. And don't buy her bullshit. Because today, what is she doing right now for these children? So, my brother that just got up here and talked about, you know, next time you get a call to action, how about the next action we take? How about we go to Nancy Pelosi's house and call her ass out? Because she needs to be called accountable. She talks about she's progressive and she's liberal y que no sé qué, pura mierda habla. Chinga la migra. And chinga all these politicians who lie. You know what? All of a sudden, Brother Floyd and everybody started paying attention. And they started taking knees and wearing all this paraphernalia on them. But all of a sudden, there ain't no more marches. And all of a sudden, are they still talking about it? Let me give you a history lesson. Because I've seen it from one movement to another movement to another movement. These politicians become immune. And they just wait until people forget about going out in the streets. They wait it out very patiently. What are they doing right now? What kind of reform is really going on in San Francisco? What kind of reform is going on for black people in the state of California? And what real kind of reform is going on in this country for black people? It was all talk. It was all talk. They'll throw some crumbs out there and fund a few nonprofits
and they'll make a few changes. But are they talking about the educational system and revamping the educational systems for blacks to make sure that they succeed from Head Start to college? Are they talking about health for black people? Are they talking about economic development and entrepreneurship for black people? Are they talking about the children? It's not even on the agenda. So you know what? We got a lot of work ahead of us. A lot of work. Don't fall asleep. Don't get dormant. Do not rest. We have a long fight ahead of us. Having been with Cesar Chavez, it took us years to win the unions and the right for workers. And it was the Great Boycott. And that Great Boycott took years. But we stopped eating grapes. And we stopped stores from selling grapes. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. And I want to end it by having my son, Tito, who started at 5, marching with me and marching with some of you. I see Rafa and Daniel, and I see Michael, Rafa's son, Michael. I see a lot of our young people from the mission who've been marching with us. So I want to ask you to join Tito in closing today.
¡Sí se puede! 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 All right, everyone, we do not take lightly the labor of your attention. Thank you for sticking around. We have a couple more speakers who have important things to share. Up next, we have Gloria Esteva from Causa Justa. Give it up.
Gracias por estar aquí. Gracias por su combatividad. Pero tenemos que convertirnos, cada uno de nosotros, en organizadores. Organizadores en este momento de la vida.
Thank you for being here, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. Today is a symbol of the importance of why we need to become organizers. And not only regular organizers, we need to become transformative organizers that do not only want reform, but transformation.
Y estamos más que seguros que no contamos con este sistema capitalista.
And we are more than clear now that we do not count with this capitalistic system.
Este sistema solo sirve para explotarnos.
This system is only working to exploit us and to continue to exploit us.
Solo sirve para reprimirnos.
It only serves to repress us.
En este momento tenemos que hacer un solo puño, todos los luchadores, todo el pueblo.
And in this moment, we need to build and create a fist, all of us, all of the fighters and all of the community.
Y tenemos que gritar que las vidas negras importan.
And we need to scream that Black Lives Matter.
¿Y saben por qué? Porque es la comunidad que ha sufrido por toda su vida en todo el mundo, porque existe el racismo en todo el mundo.
And you know why? Because this has been the community that has suffered
for many, many centuries. And the racism that has happened was started through the anti-blackness and slavery.
Y por eso tenemos que estar atentos y aglutinarnos con esa lucha con la cual vamos a derribar este sistema.
And that's why we need to be focused, because together we will bring down this system.
Compañeros, ya no podemos pedir reformas, tenemos que pedir abolición.
Comrades, we can no longer ask for reform. We have to ask for transformation and abolition.
Sabemos que nos va a costar, pero ya nos está costando. ¿Cuánta gente se está muriendo porque este sistema no suelta ni un peso para la salud?
And we know that this is happening, and this is starting to cost us. How many people of our people, black and brown people, have negatively been affected due to COVID-19?
Nosotros, todos los trabajadores, producimos toda esa riqueza que se ve. Sin embargo, no tenemos derecho ni siquiera a la vida.
We, the workers, produce all of this and everything that is around us, and yet we still do not have the rights, the human rights that we all deserve.
Por eso tenemos que abolir al ICE, tenemos que abolir a la policía.
And that is why we need to abolish ICE, and we need to disband and abolish the police.
Tenemos que recuperar la economía para los trabajadores, para la gente que produce.
And we need to build up the economy for the workers and for everybody that produces what we have here.
Para toda la comunidad que en este momento se está muriendo sin siquiera tener un médico o tener a alguien que les ayude.
And this is for all of the community that is dying for the lack of health care, for the lack of having somebody to take care of them.
Son tan desvergonzados con sus leyes que han puesto a los niños de 4 años frente a un juez para que se defienda, cuando ni siquiera sabe el idioma de este país.
This nation has no shame. This system has no shame. Putting children in front of a judge alone without their parents is inhumane.
Tienen tanta ignominia que no les importa separar a las familias porque ellos no tienen ni madre.
And they have such hate and such rotten hate that they don't even care about separating children from their own mothers. They don't have mothers.
Por eso tengan en su mente 3 luchas importantes en este momento. Todas son importantes, pero en este momento para triunfar es abolir al ICE, abolir a la policía y apoyar las vidas negras importan.
So think of these three steps as we continue in this fight. Number 1, abolish ICE. Number 2, abolish the police. And number 3, support Black lives.
Aquí nos vamos a seguir viendo, compañeros, y vuélvanse organizadores. Háblenle a la gente, comuníquense con sus contactos en todo momento. Díganles que ya no se pueden hacer pendejos, que tienen que estar con nosotros.
And we will continue to see each other, comrades. Become organizers. Call your friends, call your families, and tell them to stop acting stupid like if they don't see what's going on. Tell them to join you and bring them here for these actions as well.
No existen las razas arriba de nosotros. Todos somos iguales y todos vamos a destruir este sistema, compañeros. Póngalo en su mente. Gracias.
There is no superior race. We're all the same. And remember that, because together we will abolish ICE, we will disband the police, and we will continue this fight until all people are free from these cages. Thank you.
Gracias por ese mensaje, Gloria. Thank you so much, Gloria, for that important message. All right. So please continue to stick around. We have 2 more messages. We have a very important experience about to be shared from a trans migrant about what it is trans and queer migrants are facing on the journey and in these centers. So please welcome Ella from the group Visibilidad or Visibility.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Ella Morales y soy una mujer migrante trans.
Hello, good evening everybody. My name is Ella Morales and I am a trans migrant.
Estoy aquí para apoyar a mi comunidad.
And I am here to support my community.
Hace 3 años Kelly estaba detenida en un centro de detención por ICE. El día de hoy, gracias a cada uno de ustedes, Kelly está libre.
So 3 years ago, Kelly was detained in an ICE prison, and thanks to you all, Kelly is now free.
Gracias a cada uno de ustedes porque todos unidos hacemos la fuerza.
And thank you to each and every one of you because together we make the strength that we need.
Fue una lucha de 3 años casi imposible porque ICE la tuvo recluida en malas condiciones y el día de hoy se encuentra libre y vamos a luchar para seguir apoyando a toda nuestra comunidad y toda esa gente que ha sido injusta con este gobierno que no han tenido nada. Vamos a seguir luchando.
So 3 years ago, Kelly was detained. She was detained for a total of 3 years. And it wasn't until last week that she was released. And I am just here to tell you that because we will continue to fight together. We will continue to be in the struggle together. And we will continue to build a community that is building right now.
La razón por la que me encuentro el día de hoy aquí es porque Kelly nos trae un mensaje.
And the reason why I'm here today is because Kelly has a message for us.
Kendra Ramírez tiene 2 años con ICE y no ha podido ser liberada y está en muy malas condiciones y su vida se encuentra en peligro.
Kendra Ramirez is now totaling 2 years in immigration detention and immigration prison. And her health is not in great condition. She is not doing well. So she needs your help so that she can be released. Now.
Ella se encuentra sufriendo mucho en este momento porque está pasando por depresión y no ha querido comer durante 2 semanas.
Right now she is going through a hard time as she is depressed, not eating, and has not been eating for 2 weeks.
Necesitamos que todos seamos uno y que hagamos la fuerza para seguir haciendo esta marcha más grande porque no podemos permitir más injusticias.
And it's important that we become one and that we make these marches way bigger and much bigger because we cannot continue to let these injustices happen.
No solo las vidas de color importan todos y cada uno de ustedes.
And you all matter as well.
Todos somos importantes.
You're all important.
Estoy muy agradecida por contar con cada uno de ustedes y que me permitan hablar porque necesitamos más apoyo, que la gente salga de sus casas a apoyar, que salgamos, porque no pueden seguir pasando tantas injusticias con la gente migrante que llega a este país y con este sistema.
Yeah, we cannot let this continue to happen. So thank you so much for coming out and for supporting us today.
Y gracias a que hicieron la unión cada uno de ustedes, Kelly se encuentra libre.
And thank you to each and one of you for letting me talk here today. And because each and every one of you, Kelly is now free.
My name is Lisa Milos, and I'm a Chilean American, and I'm not sure if many people realize that the place where the neoliberal model of the privatized education system, the neoliberal model that destroyed public health and public hospitals, the neoliberal model that has been destroying our waters, that has been destroying our lands, was first tried out in Chile. In 1973, by the U.S. government, by the Milton Friedman, Chicago boys. That's the same model that people many, many more years, actually. They've been fighting against colonization. They've been fighting against racism. They've been fighting against the destruction of their lands by forestry companies, by hydroelectric companies, international companies, as well as companies, agricultural companies, by major landowners that have been destroying the country and becoming rich and exploiting people. The poor people of Chile, the poorest people of Chile are mestizo also, yes, Mapuche and Chilean together. They're the ones that have been fighting and they're the ones that have been suffering the most under COVID-19. There's a lot of similarities between what's happening here, between the people, black and brown people that have been suffering here and being exposed and having to work and not having any kind of support or medical care. The same situation people are struggling there. I want to mention what is happening now. There's 27 Mapuche political prisoners right now on a hunger strike. Why are they on a hunger strike? They're on a hunger strike because they're demanding that their rights as Mapuche indigenous people be respected. Chile signed on to an international convention of the International Labor Organization, and that convention has an Article 169 for indigenous and tribal peoples that would allow the people to serve the remainder of their sentences within their own communities. Right now they are being exposed to COVID. They've been treated as terrorists. The Chilean government, even after 1990, continued to apply the anti-terrorism laws of the Pinochet dictatorship against the Mapuche people. And those same anti-terrorism laws are the ones that have kept Mapuche people in jail, that have assassinated the youth. Matias Catrillanca. Now, of the 27 Mapuche political prisoners, 8 of them have been on a hunger strike for 96 days. 96 days. And then the Piñera government, the criminal Piñera government of Chile, appointed recently an Interior Minister, Víctor Pérez, who was a defender of Colonia Dignidad, a neo-Nazi enclavement in the south of Chile which tortured people. He's a defender of neo-Nazis. He's a neo-Nazi, and he goes down to the south of Chile and starts inciting people, inciting the racist mobs. The Mapuche families went to the municipalities and had been occupying the municipalities, the city halls, for like 5 days to try to bring attention to the issue of the political prisoners who are on a hunger strike. And what did those racist mobs do? They attacked them. They burned down their buildings. They burned and they blamed them for the destruction. And they're calling them terrorists. So I want people to be aware of what's happening, and it's all one struggle, one fight in all of the Americas. Mapuche people, the political prisoners must be freed, and that's what they're fighting for, their freedom. Thank you.
Uno más cerca.